All right, you guys, we got another live stream. Please just share, subscribe, hit that like button, and let's get back with another live stream. The fall of America has come by Almighty God. As we witness that it been a year thou far that God been pledging America with his divine pledge of storms. Now, Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 1, he used the destroying winds as he used wind as one of his weapons, lightning causing fire throughout the land with heavy wind gusts. Now, Edom will be humble. Thou said the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a report from the Lord, and a messenger had been sent amongst nations. Rise up, let us rise against her for battle. Behold, I will make you small amongst the nations. He shall be despised. The pride of your heart had deceived you. And you who live in the cliff of the rock, and your lofty dwelling, you who says to your heart, who will bring me down to the ground? Though you surge aloft like an eagle, though your net is set amongst the stars, from there I will bring you down, declared the Lord. And we are witnessing sin. Fire even fed up with food. And we do not have to hope for peace as long as we add to the wars that would serve as a fuel to a fire. See, the fire cannot go out as long as we keep it burning by adding more fuel. See, a dying burning fire is increased when more fuel is thrown into it. There are lots of people who are so anxious for peace so that they can return to committing that which they lack in love, idling, sport, and play. The world that we live in desires, first of all, to hide the truth, to keep the black man who is blind and deaf and dumb by the scientific trigonometry of the right race, so that this right race can continue to carry out the same deceiving and wickedness that they have been practicing. Now, how can we expect peace when the method used to bring about peace is the same method that started the war? Instead of finding the right solution and then practicing the right solution. I said these things for the sake of my black people. See, for they are so ignorant of the knowledge of the time in which we are living. What they'd like to do cannot be done. The time to even continue to do what you are doing, we see, is up. We must remember again the predictions of the Bible that have foretold these times. If we understand the Bible, it must certainly teach us that there is no peace for the wicked. There is no people we see who preach such a thing as peace as we see as being true followers of the prophet Jesus, as much as the right Christians do. We see day and night, we see that airways are full of their preachings. To hear them, you would think that they are the prophet Moses and Aaron, as the word Jesus put it. You see, they sat in Moses' seats. The white Christians are great deceivers. See, the Pope of Rome cannot bring peace to the Christian church, for he is not enjoying peace himself. So who is that people then that the Bible prophesies of? We see in the book of Isaiah that he would send peace to them like rivers. Surely it cannot be the present Christian right race, for they are the ones who are breaking the peace. You see, this fire is fed with feud. Leaving your own homes and country. See, you go to another man's home and country to make trouble for that people, and then accuse that people of being the troublemakers. It is the attacker who is guilty of that which follows the attack. It is America who is responsible. It is America who God is after. And see, it been a year thou far, you see, witnessing that God been pledging America day and night with his divine pledge of storms. I said to you, my black people, see, you can get away from that misunderstanding of time. You are not living in a time in which you may be expecting a settlement of war that will give you what you always have been used to: sport, play, and foolishness. See, actually now is the time that we should be wise enough to understand that we should think for self and do for self. If you do not know how to do for self, you should follow that man whom God has given that knowledge to teach you how to do for self. With the ocean filled with the fleets of the white Christians, and the sky crowded with their death-dealing planes over other people's territories, could you tell them that they should submit to you for peace? If you are able to force them to their knees and destroy them, then I said yes. If that was the situation, then I will say that they should submit and let you trumpet. But you cannot force them to their knees. They have been preparing for a war like this for nearly a century, or what I should say, that they have been preparing and working faithfully for half a century to attain attackers with the same type of weapons and better weapons than the weapons you are attacking them with. If you resort to worse weapons, they have worse weapons also. So we are in a time when arguments to the country of peace is like heaping fuel on a fire. See, it keeps it burning. We are living in an evil time. And I believe, and many hundreds of thousands believe as I do, that the President of the United States of America have good intentions towards citizens of America when he took over the presidency. But the time is against him, as you well see. See, for 400 years, and about these 4,000 years or more, see, Allah God has already given the prophecy through the mouth of his prophets of the doom of the wicked. Now, this is the time you are witnessing, and we cannot do anything but take it. It's a dangerous to add fuel to unwanted fire. The fire, you see, that's happening around America is the war. Now, man hearts feeling in fear, but the worst is yet to come. America is facing a doomsday. And brothers and sisters, she can't run and hide. See, they will build, but God will demolish. They will hide and run to some cage. See, when Isaiah chapter 2:19, the people will flee from the fierce anger of the Lord and the splendor of his majesty when he rises to shake the earth. So, how true the prophecy Jesus says in Luke 21:25 and 26 concerning the present time. Now we can bear witness that even the seas and waves are warring, and that fear is now covering the nation, as shown by unusual heart failures that is now occurring amongst man. See, these are the signs of the end of the present world. The seas is rising to perplexity that man has never seen before. Now, this is another pledge that's upon the wicked. In Washington, they're having a bad sewage problem. That Washington is on a state of emergency and no help of FEMA. With all this in play, do you think for a second that she had been a good Christian? You see, the Christian West today are filled of the worst crimes, practicing evil on those. So when we see when the seas and ocean are heaving up, tidal waves to unimaginable height that man has never witnessed before on earth, this is another pledge that's upon the wicked. Since the Holy Quran will teach us that the judgment will be such that the earth itself will act, as though a revelation had been revealed to it because of its perfect obedience to the laws of Allah on that day. Allah will use the power that is in the earth and the sea against the world of evil. So the right race thinks that they have control of the power of earth. You see, sea and air. It was prophesied that for a time they will subdue and have the use of the power of the sea and ocean until he comes who right it is to rule. See, the heavens and earth belongs to Allah God. Now is his time to rule. There's much prophecies concerning the terribleness of the judgment of the wicked. The power that is in the watery sea is in the hands of God to use it against whom he pleases. The earth, wind, rain, snow, and ice, and earthquakes are controlled by Allah God. It is a fearful sight to see the displays of his powers with the force of nature, bowing and submitting to his will. I shall warn you that this is now come into action against the Western world. There will be the destruction of whole fleets at seas. Those which are capable of lying on the ocean sea bottoms will be destroyed. The die is set, we see, with a foolish people who, like in the time of Noah, could not see the signs of the rain bringing on the flood. Even at the cloud beginning to darken the sky, see, they did not see the oncoming rain until it actually started to rain. So it is with America. Today they pay no attention to the sign of the judgment that is now taking place, as the Bible teaches us in Revelation 16:9. They blaspheme the name of God, which has power over these pledge. Now, how many in America, in the city of Chicago, disbelieve, even mock and swear at the name of God, who has power over the force of nature, land, sea, and air? Allah God is now doing as it is prophesied of the Holy Quran, we see Surah 1341, visiting a land, curtaining of his sides. See, the foolish are still foolish until he is cast to that narrow place and cannot tell from right or left, as it was with the donkey that Balaam was riding, into that narrow place between two walls. He could not turn around. He had to stop face to face with the angels or be destroyed. We see in the Bible, Numbers 22, 23, and 26. And let it be remembered that Allah God came forth for the redemption to deliver the American black people when they're tormentors. Whether we like it or not, he will do this. This is the work of Allah God, which is an effect. Let Allah use the history of the fall and destruction of ancient Egypt and her pharaoh. Let the history serve as a warning. They were all brought to nothing for the evil done to a people whom Allah God has chosen. For example, of these last days of the lost found black slave and their slave masters. The Holy Quran, Surah 3041, is perfectly true in its prediction of a present day nation, sea and land, power. Corruption has appeared in the land and the sea on account of that which man's hands has made. The most great mistake that the black man is making today is trying to hold on to the brief eternities, or that he lived and preached the saving of the white man's world. See, this is false. Jesus did not preach this. Jesus had a few disciples. Jesus also cursed the Jews, not to mention that he was trying to save them or the Caucasian people. They are teaching a trigonometry that the white man used to deceive the black man. They do this so that our people will not understand that Jesus declared himself against the world or the Caucasian race. The Bible, he also declared that the words of truth had no place in the right race of people. They have proved this to be the truth by the mistreatment of you and me. The right race has never worshipped any prophets before or after Jesus as the divine man of Allah God. It's against their very nature to do this. See, that is why they kill all other prophets that they are able to kill. They deceive the people against believing in the prophets of Allah God, but they were made in their nature to be the enemies of God and his representatives. Before we see the time is out, it will be forced into submission to the will of Allah God. This will not be done for the purpose of converting the right race. Allah God will force them into submission to prove that he is able to make everything bow to him in submission. This is the fulfillment to the prophecy we see in the Bible, Isaiah 45:23. And to me, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall swear. We see the Bible, Matthew 25:32. And before him shall be got all nations. Holy Quran has a similar prophecy that you shall see all nations kneeling before him. This includes everybody, regardless of their color. Everything in the universe obeys the natural laws, which was made subject to by Allah God. On that coming of Allah God, he now will make everything bow to him, whether you believe it or disbelieve it. The Holy Quran, Surah 13, chapter 3:82. It does not make a difference to him. Whether you are the devil or the righteous, he all must bow in submission to the will of Allah God on this day of judgment. See, we are now living in the day of judgment. Now, black preachers, I warn you, You waste your time in leading yourselves and those who follow you to hell. But hold on to this Christianity. Revelation 19:20. You cannot keep them in this Christianity. Christianity was not the religion of Jesus or Moses or any other prophets who came before them. It would have been fierce on the parts of Allah God to have waited until just 2,000 years ago to give the right religion to the world of man. Allah God gives man the right religion, Islam, in the beginning of his creation of the heavens and earth. Allah God has not changed it. His religion is Islam, entire submission to his will. Now hell is erupting. Now why you see the nation are angry? Who are the nation that are angry at this resurrection of the dead? See, the Bible tells us in the 18th verse of the 11th chapter of the Revelation, and the Bible plainly teaches us that these nations are angry mad because of the rise of the dead, and that God himself was the source of the power behind the resurrection of a rise of a mentally people, black man. It is these slaveholders who have been the real cause of the mentally deaf of the people. Revelation relates to as being deceived of justice. See, God comes to give them justice, justify them as being equal to their slave masters, as human beings. As you know, from this 400 years, we see illegal slavery and free slavery of the American so-called nigger. They have never been recognized even as a human being. As one devil says, they are only 3/5 of a human being. It is true that the history we see of our treatment by the devil slave master practically made our parents and ourselves less than human beings. This is why I teach that the main right we should be seeking first are our human rights. The American so-called Negro flew in love with his slave masters and slave master children because the unlike attracted them and their brothers in Africa. Therefore, the manifestations of the enemy, the devil, and the resurrection makes the dead to see that which causes them to be mentally dead. In the parable we see of the donkey meeting with the angel. He saw that the burden he had been carrying on his back was false. So in the resurrection of a mentally dead so-called Negro, they are rising to a knowledge of self. This knowledge make them refuse to continue to carry their slave master as something to worship. This have angered the slave master as the donkey refused to anger Balaam. Balaam set about whooping and beating the donkey to force him, as unusual, carry and respect him as his master. This use of force to compel the one slave, the black Americans, to remain with him even now in order to make them members of society. Only false recognition of the black Americans. See, this lost and now found people of the black nation of Asia and Africa.